is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we discussed about Java loops, and we have seen that actually Java programming supports three types of loops. That was the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. Basically, today we are going actually to take into details what are the Java for loop statement, and on that particular journey we are going to define what are the Java for loop. We are going to look at the syntax, and finally we are going actually to implement it in what we call our Eclipse IDE. So let us start on that particular journey on a very much light note. So onto that particular journey, we are saying actually what actually they are loops. So basically a loop is a control structure that iterate. So a for loop is a control structure that iterate the body of the program multiple times. So here it's very important to understand that it is first of all a control structure. So this particular control structure, actually what does it do? It actually iterates. It repeats itself multiple times. So it iterates multiple times. And this control structure, basically the control body has what you call a fixed number of iteration. So the control body itself has got a fixed number of iteration. So we know in advance how many times it's going to go in a cycle. And basically there are 5 types of for loops. Number 1 basically is what you call a simple for loop. Number 2 is what we call a nested for loop. And number 3 is what we call actually for each loop. And number 4 is what you call a label for loop. And finally, the last one, number 5, is what you call an infinite for loop. So onto that, let's take up the first one, which is actually what actually we call the simple for loop, and look at actually its syntax. So the syntax of a simple for loop, basically it is the word for, and then here we'll have what you call the initialization, and then we terminate, and then we'll have up a condition, and then we terminate, and then here you'll have an incrementer or a decrementer, and then we'll have opening curly bracket, and then here you'll have up our statement to be executed, and then we'll have up our closing curly bracket. So basically let us look each and every one, what do they mean. So if we are talking about an initialization, basically it is a condition to be executed only once. So this one, it is actually executed only once. And then when you look up the second part of it, it is the condition. So what is a condition? Condition, it is to be executed in each iteration until a condition is false. So this one is going to be executed in each iteration until this condition become a false. And then here we have what we call the incrementer or decrementer. This one actually basically what it does, it's a variable that actually in each iteration actually it is incremented or decremented until the condition is false. So here we have got the variable value, it is either incremented or decremented until the condition becomes a false. And then basically the last part of it, so this is part number 1, part number 2, part number 3, and part number 4. This is the part number 4. What is it all about? This is actually the statement which is going to be executed repeatedly. So this is a statement which is going to be executed repeatedly until the condition it is false. So basically this is the syntax, how it looks like. So let us look now how can we represent up the same logic using up a DFD diagram. So basically, if this is our start program, and in this particular start program we have here a condition, and after having this condition, if a condition it is true, then what will happen? Here we are having our statement in the body of the loop, and then after having the statement, we are going to have what you call the incrementer or the decrementer, and then after that we are going to go back to the loop until become false. When it is false, what will happen? Actually the loop exits, so the loops end. So basically this is how it will run. So let us take up an example and see what happens in our Eclipse IDE. So in our Eclipse IDE, here we have got up a 4, and then basically we are saying we are initializing it. Int I, let's take for example equals to 1, and here we are saying I actually should be less than or equal to what here we are calling obtain, and then we want to increment our I from 1 to 10. So we say I actually plus plus, and basically we have seen up according to the syntax we have to put up an opening and closing bracket. So basically what are we saying? We just want to print system dot out dot println, and then we are printing up I. So here the logic basically in our last session, actually we wanted to print numbers 1 to 10, and actually we had a very long code of over 15 lines whereby you had print 1 to 10. Here actually also we are printing actually 1 to 10, but in this particular one just 2 statements, just only 2 statements actually we are actually able. So actually this particular program is supposed actually to display actually 1 values 1 to 10, as opposed in our last session whereby we had to write so many codes. This is only 2 codes. So let us run and see actually how it works. So if you run this particular program, we have seen actually it has actually printed from 1 to up to 10 using only 2 codes. So this is the efficiency of using up what you call a for loop only with 2 codes, while about in our previous one we had actually used around more than 15 code to print up the same thing. So that one comes to the end of this session until on our next session, whereby we are going actually to discuss the nested for loop. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.